Make-A-Wish employees, what was the most strangest thing a Make-A-Wish kid asked for and actually received? My friend's an aquarist and she told me about one 17-year-old cancer patient who had a wish to smell a sea lion's breath before he died. He had read it was the worst thing ever and was just curious to experience it for some reason. Plus he liked sea lions, I guess. She was of course pretty shocked by the request and said, "Are you sure? I promise you really don't want to smell it. I always make sure to hold my breath if I'm getting that close," but he insisted and it was arranged. He puked, and didn't enjoy it very much. I got a wish when I was 8. Was a massive wrestling fan at the time and used to watch it when I was in hospital as they had Foxtel, Australian cable. Anyway, so I wished for Foxtel to watch wrestling. It took a few months but eventually it got granted, free Foxtel with all channels plus PPVS until I turned 16 plus the biggest TV on the market back then. They forgot to ever turn off the free Foxtel. I'm now 30. Sweet. Congrats, on both the Foxtel the recovery. A funeral. He knew his parents wouldn't be able to afford one, so he wished to have his funeral paid for. They were able to convince his to make another wish, and he wished for gold lockets for his mom and sister with his initials engraved on them. Arg. That's so sweet and sensible, but also so sad. To think for your family in those moments. Knowing you want to help them even when you're not there. Like the old saying of planting a tree you know you'll never sit under, but your kids will, and they'll enjoy the shade. Friend's son won a spider costume. Not a Spider-Man costume. Spider. It was the day before Halloween. A volunteer stayed up all night and made him the costume. That volunteer is a legend. I think so. So kind. I was a Black Hawk pilot in the Army and we had a Make-A-Wish kid who wanted to fly in an Army helicopter. We had to remove all the seats so we could strap his wheelchair down in the middle of the helicopter and we flew him around at treetop level yanking and banking with the doors open for a while. Yes of course, ma'am. We'll take him on a nice scenic flight. Doors closed so kid you like roller coasters? You boys like Mexico. Who? My wife worked as a nurse at a children's hospital and cared for a 17-year-old cancer patient whose wish was to meet Wiz Khalifa. He showed up and spent the day. My wife said they went on a walk and came back high as balls. She said it was a great day for the boy and his family. He passed away a few weeks later. This is the best one I've read. I'd also be getting high as balls if I was terminally ill. My ex-GF was a Make-A-Wish kid and she got to be a guest on Avatar, The Last Airbender. She was in the Tales of Ba Sing Se. At the end of the Tale of Aang, she's the kid that sees her cat in the zoo and says, "Fluffykins, what are you doing down there?" Also to add to this, her wish wasn't actually to be on the show, but to go to Orlando Studios to meet the cast and crew. While she was there, the show's creators offered to draw her into the show and gave her a line to say. So the character she voiced was even drawn to look like her, even the hat she wears was similar to the one she wore at the time. Similar to the story about the Make-A-Wish kid who got to visit the set of Thor, Ragnarok, and the kid actually suggested the line where Thor says Hulk is a friend from work. Imagine being a kid who came up with such a good punchline that it made it into the trailer, not just the movie. After I survived cancer at 17, I was offered a wish. I went to Christmas Island with my family to see the spawning of the red crabs, reckoned to be one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. Picture it, 1,000,000 fist-sized red land crabs making their way down to the sea edge to release their eggs into the ocean over a period of just 3 hours or so. The Make-A-Wish volunteers looked horrified as I explained it. And I'm typing this now, so yes, I lived thanks. Edit, come to think of it, I'm pretty sure my wish caught my family a bit off guard too. What would you like? 1 crab orgy, please. You sure you wouldn't just like to visit Disney? Did I stutter? Crab. Orgy. They had already done that a few weeks prior. This was the abandon the kids to the ocean currents phase. I used to know a dude who got sick in high school, and his wish was to see Rocksteady Studios and be in one of their games. The studio was super cool, evidently, and they put him in Arkham Knight as a GCPD officer. Best part of the story is that he recovered and, last I heard, is still doing okay to this day. Glad to see that I am not the only one with this weird request. I was also eligible for Make-A-Wish when I started high school and I asked to visit DICE at their HQ in Stockholm. I didn't ask to be in any of their games though, damn it, why didn't I think of that? I was passionate about game development, and I still am, and thus wanted to see what it's like to work in a AAA studio, and also ask about a bunch of game dev stuff. They constantly ask me, "Are you sure you wouldn't rather want to go to Disneyland?" I said, "This is my Disneyland." Guess they thought it was a weird request for a 15-year-old kid to make. This year I finished my bachelor's degree in computer science, and in the future I can hopefully land a job in game dev. Edit, I see many people here congratulating me for surviving. I forgot to disclose that the condition I have is not nearly as deadly as, for example, cancer. I have had a heart condition that has been treated through surgery since birth. This condition will never go away and can cause death even after treatment, but my doctor monitors my condition every year and so far it's looking excellent. Just wanted to address this. Also, I currently have to go soon, so I'll probably answer some of your comments later today, or maybe tomorrow. They constantly ask me, "Are you sure you wouldn't rather want to go to Disneyland?" They have to make sure that it's what the kid wants, not a parent or his friends, etc. The Disney trip is much easier and a well-established plan they can put in place with short notice. Source, and dad of a Make-A-Wish kid. They always push Disneyland at least once. I was a Wish kid, and the only thing I asked for was a computer. I wish they waited till I was a bit older. My parents weren't well off and my school had just started getting the new iMacs at the time, the one that had the colorful back ends and looked like a weird microwave. I have to say that this was the best thing that has ever happened in my life. I attribute where I am in my life because of that wish. Today I write code for Google and it's 100% because I was able to obtain a computer in my younger years. I learned the inside and out of both hardware and software while still growing up. Edit, for those wondering, I have cystic fibrosis. Edit 2, because my wish was so small they gave me basketball tickets to watch the 49ers play the Raiders. I know those are football teams, but they played basketball against each other for some charity event. I also got tickets to a Giants game where I got to take a picture with Barry Bonds on the middle of the field. The only sport I watch at all is hockey, but these memories are definitely special. I was a Make-A-Wish kid back in 2017 and my wish was to go see a live brain surgery in Seattle at University of Washington. I loved Grey's Anatomy, I loved Dr. Shepard, and I had brain cancer, so I wanted to see what my doctors kind of saw. What an experience, and learned so much. I was a little neurosurgeon for a day, and the neurosurgeon was playing the Pixies while operating. What a great happy moment, I won't forget. They even sent my family from Arizona to Seattle with me, to have dinner with me in the Space Needle. Wow, that's wild. Very cool, and obviously I'm glad you're still with us. I heard about a kid a few months back who got to blow up an overpass. It was scheduled for demolition anyways. But they got to push the plunger. YouTube.com, here's the video, credit to you Borderlandsman. That's super cool. One of my friends was a US Army combat engineer. For one of his drill weekends he got to do that. Afterwards he was covered in concrete dust and all smiles. When I was on a carrier they flew a kid and his parents out. They routinely fly distinguished visitors, but we thought it was weird there was this kid. They got tours and watched flight ops, but he couldn't fly with us, so they asked us to have dinner with him so he could at least meet pilots and ask questions. It was really humbling when we realized this is what he was there for. He literally wished to just come see what we do and hang it with us. Heard about one kid who, upon finding his cancer was terminal, requested to meet Voldemort so that he could join the Death Eaters. I had a wish when I was 8 due to having leukemia and a bone marrow transplant. My first thought was meet Bruce Willis. Die Hard was my newly discovered favorite film, but my dad asked if I wanted something that would last like a computer. I always loved playing on the hospital computers, so yeah, went for that. Best decision ever, I might owe my career to it. I hear Bruce Willis is a bit of a tit Earl anyway. Edit, I think this was after the BMT, so I was past the worst of it, so I was most likely going to be around to enjoy the thing that will last. Edit 2, in case Bruce Willis reads this, I'm still a massive fan, even after Die Hard 5. You probably could have guilted Bruce Willis into buying you a computer. Yeah, there you go. Roll them together. I wish Bruce Willis could talk me to Micro Center and buy me a computer.